FBA comes later.
Okay.
Okay, but they both exist. FBA is more popular, right?
Okay.
ADOS FBA. I don't have a problem with the American African people seeing the need to make it clear to other branches of the global African family that when you come here, you need to be clear that we built the house and rolled out the carpet for you. Be respectful in my home the same way you would want for me to be respectful in your home. So the concept of that American African identity, I have no issue with it. It needs to be done. It needs to be said. This is not new. What is new about it is the adversarial stance that they are taking towards African immigrants who come here from the diaspora, and the energy that they give them, the negative energy that they give them, which supersedes the negative energy you give to the white man who enslaved you then and oppresses you now. There's nothing a continental African immigrant can do to me that can supersede what the white man has done to me. There's nothing a
Instead
Caribbean,
of trying to
Central South American African immigrant can do to me that can exceed what the white man has done to me. So why is it I can have so much vitriol, hatred, disrespect, animosity towards someone who looks like me just because they came from another place, when the white man who's responsible for my hell here, I'm never giving him half that energy?
We got to admit that Dr. Umar was cooking. Dr. Umar was absolutely cooking, and he's expressing a sentiment that many of us have regarding FBA, ADOS, and other delineation cults. I call them cults because delineation and the separation of Black people based on geographical location is something that is central to their existence, and I believe central to their survival. TARIQ Nasheed has sent FBA on a suicide mission. And the reason why I say it's a suicide mission is because all our lives we've been taught very accurately and truthfully that the only way that this system can defeat you is if they are successful in dividing you. And FBA literally preaches and represents the division of our global black family based on geographic lines, based on geographic location. A house divided will fall. A threefold cord is stronger than a single cord alone. Together, we are stronger. There are a million ways to say it, but only when you believe it, understand it, and internalize it, can it actually be used to your benefit. These people that call themselves foundational Black Americans have basically accepted the idea that they will not be receiving reparations in their lifetime. These people are selfish people. They don't really build for the future of their unborn generations. They abort the unborn generations in the hope of being able to more selfishly pursue personal gain. FBA is a cult of rejection. They reject their African lineage. They reject their African culture. They reject the African immigrant. They reject the opportunity and their obligation to go into voting booths and choose leadership in the name of their own best interest. Hell, FBA, we even reject each other. So my question is, if we reject everything, what is the goal? What do we accept? Even a bird, though it has wings, has to land somewhere at some time. And as far as I can see, for the past 7 years that FBA has existed, FBA's just been flying around in a circle, refusing to come down. What is the purpose and goal of this group called Foundational Black Americans? I've been asking this question for years. I've spoken to hundreds of people using this acronym to describe themselves. And not a single person has been able to tell me, well, Brandon, once we get reparations, this is what we're going to do. See, you have to have a contingency, a plan, and a contingency for everything, that every possible outcome. What was FBA's goal, or what was their plan for if they received reparations? Can anyone to answer that? I will give any FBA $100 if they could tell us what was the collective plan and goal of FBA if they were to actually receive the $1 trillion, $17 trillion reparations package that they were demanding. What would they have done with all that money? I will give FBA any FBA $100 if they could give me their contingency plan for what they would do if they didn't receive the $17 trillion. And I will give any member of FBA $100 if they could tell me right now what is the goal of FBA going forward. See, a lot of people hit me up in my inbox, they hit me up on my email, and they say, well, Brandon, you need to go back, you need to start going after FBA again. And I say to myself, why would I resurrect a corpse just to fight it again after it's been defeated? Why would I breathe life back into a dead body after it's been defeated? TARIQ Nasheed taught FBA, he trained them like a bunch of dogs to reject everything, even what was good for them. He taught them so well to reject everything that they would reject what was best for them, even without even thinking or considering the offer that was being made. Donald Trump offered FBA or Black America the Platinum Plan. $500 billion in economic investment in Black communities. They rejected that. People like me, Pan-African people, we encouraged FBA, let's unite with our global Black family and build a bridge from here to Africa in the name of creating a global economic hub that can create and generate generational wealth. They rejected that. We said, okay, you don't want no investment in the community. You don't want to build a hub in Africa. All right, that's cool. Let's do the Buy Black movement. Let's just do business with each other to bolster the Black economy. They even rejected that. My question to FBA is, if all you know how to do is reject things, please tell me what you're willing to accept. And I encourage all of you, when you interact with FBA on social media, that is the question I encourage all of you to ask. Okay, guys, the reparations are gone. There's no chance right now for the foreseeable future. Okay, y'all done rejected the immigrants. You've rejected the government, the opportunities provided by the government to bolster your economy. You can defeat FBA with a single question: where do we go from here? That's it. Where do we go from here? And I promise you they won't have an answer, because FBA was always nothing but a bunch of coon hounds barking and chasing after whatever TARIQ Nasheed pointed them towards. And their whole job was to be TARIQ Nasheed's voice of ignorance on the internet while he continued to live a life of luxury. I woke up one day to messages that said, hey, you wouldn't believe TARIQ Nasheed is in Africa. We went to FBA and asked him, well, what is your fearless leader doing in Africa? Why would he want to go to a place that he told you should reject totally? Why would he even want to step foot on soil that he said was the soil of traitors and people who operated in a treasonous manner in relation to the global Black family? FBA has a new strategy. Reject everything and accomplish nothing. Can y'all say that with me? Reject everything and accomplish nothing. Even now, the situation we look at unfolding in Iran, FBA is going to end up just like Iran. FBA is currently making enemies of everyone, including people within the African American or Black American community. They literally attack a bunch of anyone who dares to even question the purpose or goal of what they're doing. There was a movie called what's it called? Where the aliens, A Quiet Place. You remember that movie? Ultimately, how did they defeat the monsters in the movie A Quiet Place, where the monsters were blind, totally blind, and they could only track you by hearing? Well, they were able to lure them in with sounds and then blow them up using weapons and explosives. This is what's happening to FBA. FBA is being systematically destroyed by outside forces who now have them on the ropes after their goal, their agenda, their war over reparations was lost. They were so totally determined to receive those reparations, no real planning. As a matter of fact, FBA didn't even know what it was asking for. They didn't know if they wanted $17 trillion. They didn't know if they wanted $15 million. They didn't even know if they wanted $5 per person so they could go buy a personal pan pizza from Pizza Hut. Nobody out pizzas the Hut. They didn't know what they wanted. One bullshit economist talking about $17 trillion. Then I heard another person talking about $300,000 per person. I heard a lot of nonsense out of FBA and their counterparts about what they wanted as a group. They could never settle on anything. The only thing FBA could settle on was the fact that they were going to continue to put money in the pocket of TARIQ Nasheed as he unveiled one harebrained, lying ass scheme or project after another. I'm not FBA because FBA is synonymous with stupid, and I'm not stupid. The entire premise of FBA was a lie. The entire premise of FBA was a lie. No one can tell you exactly what FBA is. I got some people from FBA right now, and I'm going to show you in real time. I'm telling you right now, I will give FBA, any member of FBA, $100 if they could come up here and tell me a definitive definition for FBA. I will give any member of FBA $100 if they could come up here and tell me a definitive definition of FBA. They can't. They can't. People might say, this dude in the comments is like, no one listens to Bucci Bear. Bucci Bear was the best thing FBA produced. The name Bucci Bear and the cartoon that TARIQ Nasheed produced about me, that was the best thing that came out of FBA. That was the funniest thing TARIQ ever produced, and it was the only thing he ever produced that was actually worth watching. The Bucci Bear cartoon had more intrinsic value than any of the Hidden Colors, all the Hidden Colors movies combined. He took me to court because that's what FBA is really about. FBA is really about undermining your own community in the name of securing reparations. That's all it ever was. It was a psyop. And TARIQ was the number one perpetuator of that psyop. It literally was something that basically TARIQ was sent to use something that he knew all black people loved, money. That's the one thing black folks love more than anything on earth. Money, and in particular, free money. Black folks will jump off a cliff if you can convince them that by jumping off the cliff, they will be rewarded with some money that they didn't have to work for. They literally baited African Americans out and just systematically ripped us apart. FBA is laughed at across the internet. Asian Don is laughing at FBA. The neo-Nazis are laughing at FBA. The Indians are laughing at FBA, the ones with the red dot on their forehead. The Native Americans laugh at FBA. Every single group has a person who has made it online by calling out the stupidity and hypocrisy of FBA. FBA is just an embarrassment to black people, black America. Let's be real. Let's be real. And we know that FBA was self-destructive from the start because the entire like the beginning of FBA at their inception, what was the first thing they attacked?
What the white man has done.
They didn't attack the white European who enslaved them. They didn't attack the Arab slave trader who enslaved them. They didn't attack the neo-Nazi or the KKK that hung them from trees like strange fruit all over America. From the moment of their inception, they started attacking Pan-Africanism, the one group that had no incentive to stand in their way or keep them from what they want. Dr. Umar made it very clear. I don't have any problem. I don't have any problem with these folks that call themselves FBA, making it clear that they are a unique, distinct group from Africans, continental Africans. So why did FBA waste so much time attacking Pan-Africans? Because they were going after low-hanging fruit. First, they went after the African immigrant. Numbers only 3 million in the whole United States. A group that has no voting power. A group that is not even represented on any level of government in a significant way. That's the first group they attacked. The next group they attacked were other African Americans, other Black Americans who were seeking to create a relationship with these people and build a bridge from here to the motherland in the name of building an economic hub to bolster our economy. Their approach was very systematic. That's how you know what they were doing was not something that was created of their own volition. First thing I'm going to just break this down and y'all could tell me if y'all think it's true. Okay. What was the movement that FBA destroyed once it came onto the scene? Can anyone tell me what the name of the movement was that FBA destroyed when they came back onto the scene? If you don't know, it was the Buy Black movement. If you look at America and you look at the way America wages war, What is the first step America takes against their enemies before they declare war? What's the first thing America does when they identify a country as hostile or as an enemy to America? Can anyone tell me that? What is the first line of defense of Western nations against foreign aggression? If you don't know, the first thing they do is economic sanctions. They attack that country economically. That is the first thing they do. They attack that country economically. They go after their economy in a effort to put pressure on that country to capitulate to America or the West's demands. They're doing it to Rwanda right now. They're doing it to Iran right now. They were doing it to Venezuela. They're doing it to Cuba right now. They're doing it to North Korea right now. And they're even doing it to China right now. But if you pay attention, that's exactly what FBA did. The first thing FBA did was destroy the recently created economic movement among Black Americans. Like, let's be totally real. The first thing they did was destroy the newly created economic movement among African Americans. They destroyed the Buy Black movement. That was the first thing they did. That's how you know that FBA was not something that was natural. That's how you know that FBA was not something that was really born, from us. Because the first step they took was to dismantle something that at the end of the day, if it was allowed to thrive, it would have greatly benefited those people calling themselves FBA. Of what threat was the Buy Black movement to FBA? In what way was the Buy Black movement going to stop FBA from getting their reparations? The reason FBA killed the Buy Black movement is because FBA basically incorporated a scorched earth strategy. They literally destroyed every project and goal that African Americans were working on at the moment, in the hopes that African Americans would say, look, we got what we were working on has been destroyed. So we might as well just join FBA in this foolish pursuit of reparations to the tune of $17 trillion. See, this is the hard part where you break down the strategy and everything they try to do, because this is where you see that what FBA actually was never something that was a creation of Black folks. It was a psyop run by somebody. I don't know who they are, but they use certain Black influencers, certain Black grifters to implement the psyop and to lead a bunch of people on a bridge to nowhere. Because no FBA person can tell you what they've gained from banging FBA for the past 7 or 8 years. None of them could tell you. No FBA could tell you a single thing they've gained from going around the internet and representing the cause of FBA. They can't do it. They can't do it. But I bet you they could tell you everything they destroyed. They can tell you everything they destroyed. They destroyed the Buy Black movement. That was the first act of economic warfare against their own people. The second act of economic warfare was they destroyed the Platinum Plan by convincing gullible Black people who were on board to vote for and support Donald Trump with the Platinum Plan, by convincing them to choose the couch and not vote. Oh, tangibles or else. So you reject tangibles in the name of getting some other tangible? Like, why couldn't you have worked to get the $500 billion and then continued that work to get the $17 trillion? because the goal was never to get anything. The goal was never to get anything. The goal was to destroy Black America's chances of gaining anything by creating a cult online that basically severed the ties of Black America to anybody who could actually do something for us. FBA said, look, we're going to show you how to win. Cut ties with the entire political apparatus of your country. Sit on a couch with your arms folded and your lip poked out like a 5-year-old and wait for somebody to feel sorry for you and come over and say, hey, what's going on with you? You feeling okay? It never happened. That person never came. They never came. And there were always off-ramps for FBA where they could have said, you know what, this isn't working. Let's just do something else. But by then, TARIQ had their minds. And for some of you, he had your minds caught in his trap. He had your brain fully under his control like a dog getting trained by a dog handler, by a dog trainer. It was to the point where your mind and your body knew that what you were doing was stupid and didn't make any sense, but you were so caught up in the fever dream of reparations that you just couldn't walk away. You couldn't go away. And even now, some of you who are very deeply in it, but you kind of found the light and you're deciding to kind of walk out of it, you still have a part of you that wants to still pursue that failed goal of reparations. TARIQ Nasheed sent FBA on a suicide mission to destroy their own economy, to destroy their own community, and basically to destroy themselves when it was all said and done. At this point, I got about $300 on the table for anybody who can come up here and tell me what is the collective goal moving forward of foundational Black Americans. They claim to have an understanding of it. They claim that they get something that you just don't get. Why don't they come up and get their easy $300? See, I've learned about Black folks. Instead of arguing with them, just put your money where your mouth is. Because if I said I'll give $100 to anybody who could name 3 Jay-Z albums, they would have came up here. I'll give $100 to anybody who could name 3, the last 3 Michael Jordan tennis shoe releases. They would have been up here. But they're on the internet every day fighting for a cause that they don't even understand. They're on the internet every day fighting for a goal that they know they will never reach. Now they're at the point where all they could do is try to crack jokes. And remember, if you've been with me for years now, you remember when I said the only power that the Black man in America truly has is the power to call other people names and the power to reduce everything serious to the realm of a practical joke or something comical. That's all I got. And what do you see now playing out in front of your face? They call you names. You a coon, you a Tom, you Bucci Bear. Okay, check. Then they start cracking jokes. And they don't realize. Like old Illinois told Bumpy Johnson on Hoodlum, we the joke, Bumpy. That's FBA. A big fucking joke. FBA can't even get more motion than Umar Johnson, and he's a damn scam artist and a grifter. Hold on. FBA can't even get more traction than Umar Johnson. FBA can't even get more traction than Kai Cenat or IShowSpeed. Individual black people are able to garner more attention, more revenue, and experience more success than FBA ever was able to achieve. How do you become a lineage when IShowSpeed could say he could say fuck FBA, and that'd be the end of FBA right there. Kai Cenat could be like, everybody needs to reject FBA today, and that would be the end of FBA right there. I saw FBA talking about IShowSpeed is an immigrant. Kai Cenat is an immigrant. You know what Kai Cenat did? He ignored him. You know what IShowSpeed did? He ignored them. That alone shows you the irrelevance of FBA. Go on the street to the average black person and be like, yo, do you know what FBA is? They're going to be like, no. They don't know. So FBA, I would say that people claiming that is in the realm of the hundreds of thousands. I would say there's a couple 100,000 people who are like, yo, we're FBA. Right? A couple 100,000 people have been working for 8 years on the internet. They've been banging the FBA gang for 8 years on the internet. And 99.9% of all African Americans still don't know what the fuck FBA is, what it stands for. And the worst thing is, if you teach African Americans what FBA is, if you highlight what FBA stands for and what their goal was and what they've actually accomplished, 99.9% of people will reject FBA right straight out on his face. They'll be like, why would I join something that failed to reach every last one of his goals? Remember when I told the FBAs in the audience that I will give them $100 if they could come up and tell me what was the criteria for being FBA? I told you they could never answer. I told you they could never answer. I would have came up and got my $100. They don't know. They don't know anything because TARIQ Nasheed hasn't given them their next instructions on stupidity yet. So they're just sitting here. They're stagnant. FBA was a movement where hundreds of thousands of black people openly practice hatred, xenophobia, and anti-Semitism, also so that the top 1/100th of a percent of people within the FBA community could have success. See, FBA is beneficial if you use it to grift online. I see FBA creators, who had no motion. They start getting on the FBA grift, they got all the motion in the world. But what I'll tell you is, as much as FBA follow these people, they can never tell you how they tangibly benefit from following these people. And FBA's whole mission is tangibles, right? Am I wrong about that? Is not FBA's whole mission tangibles? Tangibles or else? Can they tell you what they've tangibly received since they've been deceived by Flex, aka TARIQ Nasheed? What have they received? They still going to work for the white man. They still going to work getting abused and mistreated by Mexicans. They still at work getting outperformed by African immigrants. They still getting fired up off their damn job. They still in fast food restaurants all over America acting ghetto as hell. They still getting stopped by the police acting ghetto as fuck, talking about, I want you to call your sergeant. What has changed for FBA in the 8 years that they've been absolutely destroying their own economy in the name of a $1 trillion handout that they delusionally believe that they're going to get from the U.S. government. Please just tell me, what have they gained? Can any FBA, I know you're out there, can you click on this link and tell me what you've gained in the 8 years that you've been out here riding for the FBA cause? Tariq's still doing the same shit he was doing. He done bought some silk shirts. He done bought him a rental property, opened up a fake liquor store, and called it a museum. But what have you, as an individual foundational Black American, gained? I ask you, what have you guys gained as a collective? Don't none of y'all own shit that TARIQ Nasheed has created. Tell me. I'm waiting. I told you, TARIQ Nasheed sent FBA on a suicide mission. And at the end of the day, I want y'all to pay attention to what's going on with Iran, because that's exactly how FBA will end up. Alone and isolated, totally depleted and decapitated. Only difference is no one's going to have to drop a missile on their leadership apparatus for it to disintegrate. You can even see right now that many of these FBA grifters, they're already preparing for their exit. They have, bro, they don't even talk about reparations anymore. They don't even talk about reparations anymore. They get on the internet, and now that reparations is totally off the table, their goal is it's like church. Now that you know you ain't about to see no miracles and all the magic and shining wore off, now their job is to keep you stuck on stupid, believe in the shit that they said that has been already proven to be bullshit. Look, we could look at Tariq's last videos to show you that the grift has already shifted. Look, now 6 hours ago, our DNA test, our ancestry DNA test accurate. Let's reject the DNA test. But we know that FBA is pure hypocrites on that. Because when they watch Maury Povich or Steve Wilkos, if they say that you are not the father, FBA going to jump up and start cheering. They're going to believe in the accuracy of the DNA test. In that case, but they reject the accuracy of the DNA test when it comes to where they come from. TARIQ Nasheed admitted that African Americans are the descendants of African slaves. Black Americans, including his cult FBA, are the descendants of African slaves. Now he's gone full circle back to his old grift of trying to convince Black African Americans, Black Americans, that they are Native American Indians on this land. I remember Tariq caught hell when he said, no, we are the descendants of African slaves. Tariq, if you are an Indian, what the fuck are you doing in Senegal? Why didn't you go to the Navajo reservation? Why didn't you go to the Iroquois or the Choctaw Nation? Why are you in Africa? You have no connection to that place. These African DNA tests are totally inaccurate. They're lies. Because it's all a grift. And he doesn't feel guilty about it because if a judge calls him out about it, because I was in court with him when the judge called him out about the lies and the degenerate shit he says on the internet, he said, Your Honor, it's all just jokes and it's satire for entertainment. You're betting your livelihood, your life on this shit. You throwing all your energy into this shit. And TARIQ got in front of a judge and said, yo, this shit is just jokes, Your Honor. He said nothing on the internet is serious. So now y'all back at trying to disqualify ancestry DNA test. Ain't that crazy? Let's see what he said about that.
You know the old.
Let's get Faye Clockett. Faye Clockett.
Faye
Hop on,
Clockett.
Faye.
He still got the actors calling in, huh?
Hey Tariq.
What's up, Faye?
What's up? So I have some good news.
Oh, what's the good news?
So you know the older man who was working at the Rib Shack.
Walter.
Walter, yeah. So he now owns the and whatnot because it was a
lawyer.
black lawyer. Yeah.
Yeah, they're showing them legs and shit. There you go. Oh, there she go. There you go.
Tranny.
Where your nigga at? Where your dude?
And man, he told me his niece was staying with him. He's like, I call my brothers.
Man, Tariq is not serious, bro. He talking and still trying to talk to still trying to mac up big backs. Oh, the African DNA test fake. All right, let's talk about it. All right, we talking about Dayton and Walter's barbecue. Try to tell y'all don't want to listen. Look, I warned you. I warned you. My conscience is clear because I warned you guys. I said, don't get behind that. Pause. That's some bullshit. Tariq grifting. He's grifting. Nah, Brandon, you don't understand. We about to get $17 trillion. And then when y'all knew Tariq was a grifter, y'all jumped behind the NFAC, Grandmaster General J, Grandmaster Flash. He's still in prison. Y'all ain't even bell bro out yet, but y'all gonna get reparations. Now, his next video, Plies asks Latinos. Plies asks if Latinos align more with blacks or whites. Why? Now we going back to answering stupid questions that we already know the answer to. He got 10,000 on our ancestry DNA test accurate. Bunk. 24,000 views on do Latinos align more with whites or black? Everyone knows the answer to that. Let's go to the next one. Racist text leaked from the Latino GOP members. We already know that. Former Nigerian NFL player says he doesn't like the term FBA. This is what we focused on. The world is at war. The world is at war. There are serious threats to African Americans, serious threats to our brothers and sisters fighting in the armed forces. There are serious threats to Africa. But we're still over here playing games, talking about whether or not Latinos align with blacks more than whites. Well, I think what happened to Jasmine Crockett should tell you that. And I think the Latinos align with what they align with common sense more than anything. And we don't have that. See, no one could come along to Latinos and be like, yeah, y'all really the original Africans. They kidnapped you and brought you over here. They're going to say you're stupid. We know who we are. Only black folks is still engaged in playing identity musical chairs and is getting you nowhere. I don't care if we wasn't descendants of Africa. If that's what it takes for us to move forward and get something going as a group of people, fuck it, we Africans now. And that's my ultimate question. I don't even care if you want to call yourself a Native American. What are you going to do based on being a Native American that's going to help get you out of this situation that you're in America? Where you're broke, you got no generational wealth, your GDP as a group is not growing. You're slowly being edged out of the job market. You're being discriminated against by Latinos. Your women are aborting every fucking baby they make with you, but you know what babies black women are not aborting? Black women are not aborting the babies they're making with white men and Latinos. Black women are not aborting the babies that they are making with white men and Latinos. I promise you. When have you seen a woman in the abortion clinic abort? When's the last time you seen a black woman in the abortion clinic aborting a baby saying, yeah, this is by a Mexican dude or a white dude? You haven't seen it. You haven't seen it. But your biggest concern is, oh, is African DNA and ancestry test accurate? You have a lot of problems, Black America. But instead of being serious, you want to reduce your problems down to satire. You want escapism. And that's what this is. Do black voters see through the sister girl cosplay? Clearly they don't. Mayo man asks why FBA separate. They can't even answer that. Cosplaying troll asks how can slaves be foundational? Democrats blame black men for Jasmine Crockett losing. All right, man. Whatever you say. Did I show speed increase tourism to Africa? Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. He increased tourism to Africa so much that TARIQ Nasheed himself, Mr. We Ain't African himself, took his ass over to Africa, following behind a 20-something-year-old kid. You 100% right, Roland. FBA are so hypnotized that TARIQ Nasheed literally leads them in every direction, including leading his followers into believing that he's not their leader. 100%. FBA, the only group following a dude who's telling him, no, I'm not your leader. I'm not. It's like a girl in a committed relationship with a dude who every chance he get remind her, I'm not your boyfriend. We not together. I'm running up in your ass every night, but I'm not your boyfriend. That's the FBA. FBA is the fat chick that TARIQ Nasheed doesn't want to claim. You ever dated a fat, ugly chick and she want to go somewhere with you, and when you there, you try to act like y'all just friends? Y'all walking through the mall, you put your arm around her, but you put her in a little headlock and give her a noogie. You don't want nobody to think that there might be something romantic going on between you and this chick. You don't want nobody to even get an idea that there might be some love or some freakiness going on between y'all. I had a girl like that when I was younger. I ain't gonna say her name. I ain't gonna blast her out, but yeah. We was in college. We'd be on campus. She'll run up, hey, babe, I'd dap her up like she was just one of the homies. That's TARIQ. FBA is TARIQ Nasheed's dirty little secret. Yeah, man, they FBA, but I ain't their leader. That's what he tell the white folks when he go do his fruity stuff. They were like, yeah, they saying you the leader of some group called FBA. I ain't y'all leader. Look right here. I said it online that I'm not their leader. They just keep following me. I don't even know why. He treats y'all like a stray cat. Like y'all just like he gave y'all a little bit of food and y'all just followed him home. Am I lying? What exactly are you doing for the forward moving RPA? Hey, only way you can answer that question is if you come up here. I'll give you the link. Questions about what I'm doing will only be addressed if you come up here and ask me face to face. That's it. Bucci, you still talking about TARIQ 3 years later? Y'all still talking about FBA 3 years later? Y'all still talking about FBA 3 years later? See, it's funny how FBA could understand the futility of talking about TARIQ, but they can't understand the futility of talking about reparations. At least I could say talking about TARIQ, I've made money. What have you made or earned or gained from talking about reparations? Nothing. Like Bernie Mac say, nothing. Yeah, Brandon, we still talking about reparations even though it ain't doing nothing for us and we ain't getting nothing. We losing money. Talking about how we about to get some money. Y'all out here selling Cutco. Wasting money driving to the job, wasting money buying clothes for the job, wasting money going door to door and buying lunch, and you're not even going to get a paycheck at the end of the week. FBA is Cutco, a bullshit job, a job that costs you more to do the job than you make at the job. FBA is a Pyrrhic victory. You know the Pyrrhic, it's not even a victory at all. At least a Pyrrhic victory is a victory. But it's just a victory where you lose so much that the victory don't feel like a victory. FBA ain't had a single win, bro. Since its creation. Name for me one win that FBA had. Remember FBA tried to say them dudes vandalized the Hidden History slum liquor store? What, are the people in jail who they lied and said did that? They took the Hispanics to court. Hispanics whooped them and sued TARIQ and he had to pay them, allegedly. Can anyone tell me a win that FBA has gotten? Please, one thing, any little thing, name one win that FBA has gotten. Brandon, we got the Hidden Hustle Lounge, but we got to pay to get in. And we got to pay to park because ain't no parking. Y'all mad at me because y'all wasted 8 years of y'all life on bullshit. That's my fault. Nah, some things just get old. Let people be on what they own. Who cares? I care. If they can be what they own, why can't I talk about them? That's my question. If I could let them just be what they own, why can't I just be what I'm on without Mr. Freeze over here being a hypocrite and a hoe all at the same time? That's how you know he was raised by a single mother. Let us do it, but you don't do it. That's how you know he was raised by a single mother. Let us do it, but you don't do it. He's a moron like the bitch that raised him. So I'm telling you to let me do what I want to do and to back up off me. But I'm trying to tell you, you can't do what you want to do and I back up off you. No one's forcing you to be here. You heard your daddy TARIQ's name and you had to come click and see what was going on. You acting like the slut that fucking raised you. She didn't go nowhere. She ain't shit. You ain't going nowhere. You ain't shit. My mom ain't no fucking saint, but I don't act like her. I guarantee you that. I guarantee you I don't act like her at all. I avoid everything she does or did, so I don't accidentally start acting like her. 100%. We winning every night. Every night, bro. I just closed the deal, bro. I just closed an amazing deal, bro. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I'm waiting on y'all to close the reparations deal. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm waiting on y'all to close the reparations deal. But we know it's never going to get closed. It was never serious. It was a con. It was a grift. It was a hustle. It was much akin to Umar Johnson's school. And at this point, y'all got the same fucking thing as the people who donated to Umar Johnson's school. Let's be real. TARIQ Nasheed ran the Umar Johnson grift. Like, just think about it. Think about it. Tariq's not really smart to think of this type of shit on his own. TARIQ Nasheed ran the Umar Johnson grift. Umar proposed a school, got y'all for several million, allegedly. TARIQ proposed a museum and got y'all for several million, allegedly. The only difference is TARIQ had the blueprint already laid out for Umar, and he improved upon the idea and got y'all money way quicker than Umar got the other black folks, the Pan-Africanist money. I'm being real. If you really break down, right? If you really break down what Tariq did, he ran the Umar Johnson scam at an accelerated rate. He ran the Umar Johnson scam at an accelerated rate. That's it. FBA, that's your life. That's your life. That's some of y'all greatest accomplishment. Some of y'all, that's going to be the greatest thing y'all ever do in life is get scammed by TARIQ Nasheed. Ain't that about a bitch? Y'all going to be old with gray up in your head, rocking back and forth in a rocket chair, telling your grandma, yeah, I remember this one time, man, this nigga named Tariq scammed me for at least $3,000. Am I lying? Y'all gonna be like, man, I remember that time we did the pull-up summer. We down to D.C. and stood in the hot sun so Tesla and Figaro could lie to us to our face. What's that one coon's name? James Small. So James Small could lie to us to our face. So Tariq and Rizza Islam could lie to us to our face. I just saw that fool eating in Long Beach. He gaining weight off y'all, man. He looking healthy. Pause. That's it. Y'all can say whatever y'all want about me. I haven't lost no money to a grifter or a con artist ever. Ever. And Tariq begged to be a host on No Jumper. I actually was a host on No Jumper and left the show because I didn't want to be on it no more. I wanted more money. He begged to be there. I went there as a guest and they begged me to be a host. But y'all talking about me. At least I went and made you proud. I didn't get mad at the people who support me and start doxing y'all on X like Tariq did. FBA claims that delineation is working because black immigrants who commit crime are being exposed as if that hasn't already been happening for decades. Listen, I'm telling you right now, when an illegal immigrant commit a crime, right? Or when a legal immigrant commit a crime, right? That person is not designated based on where they came from. They are considered an African American. And when a black American commit a crime, they're going to be labeled as an African American. So what are you talking about? Please tell me. What is FBA accomplished? Nothing. I'm gonna hit up my friend. I'm gonna hit up my friend who's a cop and ask him. Actually, you know what? We could ask Gemini. Let's just ask Gemini. Okay, Gemini. When an African immigrant who is a U.S. citizen is arrested, what racial designation are they given? All right, we asked Gemini. When an African immigrant who is a U.S. citizen is arrested, what racial designation are they given? I'm going to put the question first, right? Here the question is. Right here. Bam. Y'all can read it. It's right there in front of your face. When an African immigrant who is a U.S. citizen is arrested, what racial designation are they given? I'm going to give you an answer. I'm not scrambling. Let me show you. I'm giving y'all the facts. Okay, here we go. Bam, 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 bam. There's no need to ramble because I already know the answer to these questions. These people calling themselves FBA are just in denial about facts. Every black person knows it. Black or African American is the answer. This is the standard designation for any person having origins in any of the black racial groups of Africa. This is why FBA will never be a thing. FBA will never be a thing because your designation, your racial designation in America is purely based on your origin. It's not based on where you are. It's based on where you're coming from. Once you touch this soil, you are blank American. You are blank American. Your origins, even white folks are their designation is based on their origin. What is Caucasian? A person of white, European, Middle Eastern, or North African descent. So whites, Arabs, and North Africans, which are Berbers and all that shit, are all designated as Caucasians. That is their origin. So FBA, what did y'all accomplish? Y'all in the same... If you get your ass whooped by the police and arrested today, you will be listed as a black or African American. A white person will be listed as a white or Caucasian American. Congratulations. Jamaicans don't call themselves African Jamaicans. Yeah, because Jamaicans have their own island. Jamaicans they have their own island and they're just describe themselves as Jamaican. Let's look. We don't even know what Jamaicans call themselves, but we can learn racial designations of Jamaicans. You know what's funny? These people say shit and then you could look this shit up and they never do. Oh, yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. In Jamaica, they are Afro-Jamaicans. Black or African Afro-Jamaicans. That's African Jamaicans. Mixed or Afro-Pean or brown. That's enough. Let me share this with you. Hold on. See, a lot of being FBA relies on you saying shit that you don't really know, right? And that's where you can get these fools. Right here. Racial designations of Jamaican. Right here. This is what they call you in Jamaica. You're either black or Afro-Jamaican. The majority, over 90%, when including mixed, are West African descent, resulting from the transatlantic slave trade. Mixed, Afro-European, or brown. A significant portion of the population, 15% by some estimates, is of mixed heritage, often referred to in local parlance by skin tone. Indian, Afro-Indian, descendants of indentured laborers brought from India, representing about 3.4% of the population. White includes descendants of British, Irish, German, and Spanish settlers, comprising roughly 3.2%. Chinese, how are they Afro-Chinese? I don't get that. But Afro-Chinese, descendants of Chinese indentured laborers, approximately 1.2. Middle Eastern, they call them Lebanese or Syrian, a small but influential group on commerce. So, yeah. What are you talking about? They clearly have racial designations in Jamaica. Referring to someone, referring to someone as a Jamaican is referring to them based on their nationality, just like they can refer to any of us as Americans. We're African American, there's white Americans, Chinese Americans, Native Americans, but all of us collectively are Americans. See, you guys don't understand basic English. That's one of the necessary requirements to be FBA, to be retarded. Not be able to have reading comprehension skills, not have no understanding of the way the world works, but boldly get on the internet and showcase your stupidity to the rest of the world. They designate by race in Jamaica. But a white person can be just as much of a Jamaican as a black person. Yeah, Jamaicans don't call themselves Afro-Jamaicans. Actually, they do. They do. On their applications and in their government designation. Yes, white people are European Americans. Yes, I know that. White or European American, black or African American. They put the or. White or European American or white not of Hispanic descent. We all know these things. But this is why the FBA shit and all that is just a huge waste of time. Because you spend time constantly revisiting things that are already established. That's the greatest trick that TARIQ pulled on FBA. He got grown-ass men and women arguing about things that have already been established and are never going to change in this country. Black folks will be pushed out of America before they change the designations of black people. Our population is shrinking in this country and mixing rapidly. You will eventually have more people black of Hispanic descent before you see FBA on a job application. Because all these Negroes calling themselves FBA want to lay up with Mexican girls. All these females calling themselves FBA, they want to lay up with Papi Chulo. Because at the end of the day, they know they ain't going to get no reparations, so they got to make a decision based on money. They worship money. Why do you think TARIQ was able to make reparations their god for damn near almost 8 years? The only way FBA grift work on you is if you have an unhealthy perception of money. Yeah, nigga, throw away everything and go throw away everything and go chase reparations that ain't never coming. No one with common sense does that. No one with common sense does that. Hey guys, we have a goal of $5 super chats before 2 hours is up. We already got 2 contributions from my brother via PayPal. Let me see. No, Cash App. I'm gonna just call him Kev. My brother Kev contributed 10. Oh shit, let me see. What the hell are they talking about? I don't know what the hell this thing is talking about. But shout out to my girl Michelle N. $10 holler in Cash App. Shout out to my brother Kev for the $10 holler in Cash App. So y'all, we just need one more contribution to hit our goal. And if we hit our goal, we need one more. Okay, Mean Looks. Got you, Mean Looks. Thank you for the $10 holler. I appreciate you, brother. And shout out to my girl Michelle. Oh, then we didn't got it then. He shot us another $10 holler. So we reached our goal. So if you feel inclined to do some more contributing, go right ahead. I love you all. I got some top secret information. You know, a lot of people be like, oh, he don't know what he talking about with the military shit. Well, you guys don't know that I have contacts in the military. Everyone always says, Brandon, know everybody. He said, you know, everyone. But I have not only people who I know who served in, you know, were Army Rangers, Navy SEALs, a part of amphibious assault teams because I do jujitsu. And when you the big black belt, you sensei. So they love telling you about who they are, where they've been, what they've done. And they love telling you about what they are hearing from their friends who are still enlisted. But I also have family that are currently on ships and submarines in the military, in the Navy, right now, today. And so just give me a one, because this was our goal. We're gonna finish dusting off FBA like an old book, right? And you know, we tapped in, we got on a little call today, and they gave me some juice, and I was like, you know, but my people, they be thinking I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, because, you know, a black man, he got to prove himself 100 times. And they was like, I'm going to tell you this, that, and the third. And when you tell them this, they ain't going to be able to deny you no more. They not going to be able to say, this dude don't know. And I know I got some of my people from the military up here. So give me a one in the comments if y'all want the top secret information. Give me a one in the comments if y'all want that top secret information. And it's not that we Navajo. We are not now. You might be a hoe, but I'm not a hoe. Shout out to my brother Manson again for the another $10 holler. I appreciate y'all. All right, so we got one. I need like 10 ones. Give me 10 ones if y'all want the fucking top secret information. Come on now. Come on, active listening. Hit that one if you want this top secret. And I'm going to keep talking. So, yeah, so TARIQ basically, he sent these dudes on a suicide mission. They're going to end up like Iran. Reject everybody, surrounded by enemies, and really nobody to depend on. And what is your only option? Surrender. I am telling you that FBA has already surrendered to the forces within this country greater than them. FBA has already surrendered to Hispanics. Look at Jasmine Crockett. Look at Jasmine Crockett. She's already surrendered. She's done. Well, you know niggas lost when they start talking about lawsuits. FBA has too many enemies. And it's not because people have made themselves enemies of FBA. FBA has made themselves enemies of everyone, especially, including but not limited to, people within their own lineage of Black or African Americans, descendants of slaves. They're done. They just don't. They're like Iran. They just don't have the ability to fight on multiple fronts. What up, fool? Damn, can y'all niggas enter a house without slamming the door? Nigga, you just a nigga. Gotta slam every door you close. This nigga, I'm strong too. This nigga, blah, 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 blah. Hey, y'all know black people can't close the door without slamming that motherfucker. I'm like, I be coming in the door, closing the screen slow, not slow, but just, you know, I gotta, these niggas, bam, bam, bam. I'm like, all right, man, it's all good though. All right, so anyway, but yeah, my uncle here visited me, but it's all good. We having a good old time. But anyway, yeah, so they don't have the capacity to engage in the war that they tried to fight. See, because FBA is an army, but it's an old army of retards. Most of these people don't even know what IP is. Most of these people, you know, they don't know what IP is because they believe when they make crazy, xenophobic, racist, hateful comments on the internet, they think that they're anonymous because they ain't put their name on the shit, on the username. I know FBA is an old army because when they did the FBA convention, it was a bunch of old folks with gray up in their head. FBA is an army, but it's an old army of retards, elderly. These people definitely collect Social Security, and some of them for mental illness. FBA is the SSI army. Either they got bad knees or they mentally retarded or disabled in some way mentally. They're cognitively, they're in cognitive decline, like Joe Biden. I'm not joking. They should call that bitch SSIA because that's what they own. That's why they could sit on the internet talking shit all day. They like the Hebrew Israelites. Hebrew Israelites, most of them get SSI checks because they ain't right in the head. They touched. That's why they could jump up and go to Africa and live on their $700. Or whatever the white government that they hate gives them every month for being crazy. Pan-Africans ain't doing it. No, nigga, we're going to work every day. That's why we don't have time to argue with your ass all day. You left your phone here? No, you didn't. Oh, man, you are. Was it on the floor? Oh, your phone is in my car. Because I heard that motherfucker ring and it's in the back seat. My key's somewhere right here. Look under this stuff. But, yeah, there. It's the back. You're going to have to hit the button with your, like, finger or something. Because it's fucked up. But anyway, so, yeah. Check the back seat, dude. All right. So, yeah. So, SSIA. That's what we should call them. Because you know they get a crazy check. You saw how crazy FBA was. Dang, my camera cleared up. That's crazy. It was fuzzy the whole time, and then it just randomly cleared up. Amazing. Anyway, it's funny how you saw how crazy FBA was when they went to the FBA little you know the thing, the round table or the council. You know the thing they did where they had all the motherfuckers sit on the panel and decide how much they wanted in the reparations that they wasn't going to get. The FBA panel was so crazy to me. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. Which one of y'all have saw the movie Hook? Remember the movie Hook with Robin Williams and Rufio? I know the nigga personally. Dante Bosco, Rufio. Remember that? And I think it was Dustin Hoffman played Captain Hook. Do y'all remember that movie? Right? If you remember the movie Hook, there was a scene in the movie Hook where the kids was sitting down eating and Robin Williams couldn't see the food because he didn't know how his imagination wasn't working. Y'all remember that scene? That's FBA. If you normal, you can't see the crazy shit they talking about. But if you decide to put your brain in your back pocket or in your fucking shoe, you can suddenly see the shit that they imagining. That's FBA. You remember in the scene, he like, they eating, they pulling out steaming pots of food, and there ain't nothing in their hands. He looking at them like they are crazy. But then he gets hit in the head with the fucking peanut, and he pass out and get back up, and he could see everything. I could see it now. You have to be outside your mind to play along and understand what the fuck FBA is talking about. It is that movie. It is literally the modern day physical equivalent to that movie. I'm Robin Williams before he got hit with the peanut or whatever. Hey, Jabbar, you remember the movie Hook with Robin Williams? Remember when the kids couldn't see the food, but the kids was eating? This dude talking to his girlfriend. Look, you remember when they was eating the food and he couldn't see the shit, and then all of a sudden he got hit in the head and then he could see him eating? Yeah, that's FBA right there. But literally, that's what it is. I just had an epiphany. What is it when you're black and you have an epiphany? Is it called an epiphany? But that's it. Like, damn, that should just be coming to me. I be getting signals from somewhere, the ancestors. This is FBA, y'all. Just an imaginary movement, chasing imaginary reparations. That's what the FBA panel was. Hey, how much do we want in imaginary reparations? We want 275 trillion. All right, write down 275 trillion. That's literally what they were doing. They was playing musical chairs with no chairs. That's because they all on SSI. They crazy. They got a problem. They should have sued for more money on their SSI check. Now, that was something they could have got. I know y'all think we crazy, but we past crazy. We fucked up. Let's click my brother with another $10 holler. The government has called us Negro, Black, African American. Why is it so outrageous that we name ourselves with a literal description of who we are? Well, it's not literal because foundational implies beginning. You were not Americans in the beginning. As a matter of fact, you weren't even designated Americans until several decades after your arrival on this continent. Yeah, Black Americans were not African slaves, were just African slaves until July 9th of 1868. You understand? So you were not foundational. You were made Americans later on. You should call yourself foundational Black Africans. You should call yourself foundational Black Africans because that's what you were at the founding of this country. You were not given American status until 1868. You are FBA for sure. You are a foundational Black African. So it's not as outrageous as it is inaccurate. It's not as outrageous as it is inaccurate. Yeah. But that's what I'm telling you. When you look at FBA, it's just people who don't know anything. I look at them like children because they don't know any better. This nigga in there getting rejected. Shit, I'm fucking around. She don't want to talk to you. You ain't hitting the back of that thing like you used to. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, right here. You wasn't even American until 1868. You are a foundational Black African that then became an American. Like my buddy Manny J said, the race be African, not American, which makes me so in tune with my real self. So I just give you Manny J and it feels well. But this is what we understood. See, our ancestors taught us. And we decided to reject what they taught us, which was the facts. And we rejected that in hopes that it would bring us closer to the white man. And one thing about the white man, he don't like people who betray their own. Nobody likes a rat, a snitch, a bamboozling coward. Understand that. Okay, so we're done dusting off FBA for the week. That's easy work for me. I need more of a challenge. So now let's get to the information about the Iraq War. Okay, so there were some major developments that happened over the past couple of days. This war situation is moving so fast. You have things happening within hours, major developments. That's one of the things I respect about Trump. Trump is really showing you that we've just been getting scammed all these years when it came to all these long-ass wars. Because Trump is accomplishing in hours what Obama and these other degenerates were telling us it would take years, in a decade or more, to accomplish, right? Trump is just like, I'm telling you, I am confident that Donald Trump could have solved the situation with the Afghan war in a matter of days. No, it wasn't Donald Trump though. It was George W. Bush and Barack Obama. They stretched that out purposely. And they literally implemented rules of engagement that made it impossible for our soldiers to win. That's why when you see the media out here, when you see the media out here talking shit, oh, well, you saw what happened in Afghanistan. It's not even comparable because you have a totally different leader who's not trying to drag this shit out. He's trying to like get in and get out. Like me with the Saigon whore. I'm not trying to spend any time. I'm trying to beat it and get on. Joke. That was a joke. That's a joke. Y'all niggas don't even know where Saigon is. If I say a place you ain't never been to, it's a joke. If I say somewhere you've been, like the swap meet or the abortion clinic, then you know I was for real. Just know that. Where I was saying somewhere your mama been, the fucking county office. You know, I'm not joking. Saigon. Saigon. Where the hell is Saigon? Is it in Little Saigon? No, it's not, bro. It's in Cambodia or Vietnam. Where is it? It's one of them motherfuckers. Saigon is, I think it's in Little Saigon. That's in Vietnam. Yeah, Saigon is in Vietnam. No, Vietnam. Remember, Good Morning Vietnam. Dude, it's not in Thailand, fools. It's in Vietnam. I just told y'all. These niggas talk about China, Thailand. One thing about this show, you gonna learn something. You're gonna learn every time. But so basically, I'm gonna show you two things that nobody's paying attention to, that the media listened to just like I did, and they want to spin things to make our commander-in-chief Trump look bad. But the truth is always in the details. And so the current Iranian president, the acting president, he released a video today where he was apologizing to the other countries in the Middle East for bombing them indiscriminately, right? But when he was speaking, he revealed two things that none of the news media outlets chose to key on, which I believe gave some insight as to the true situation, the true circumstances they are in with the war. So let's just play this real quick, and then I'm going to give y'all my top secret info.
The Iranian president has apologized to his country's neighbors and has promised to stop carrying out strikes against them unless Iran is targeted by attacks that are launched from their territory. Masoud Pezeshkian appeared in a pre-recorded speech on state television this morning, where he also addressed President Trump's demand that Tehran should surrender unconditionally to the US.
They should take the dream that we surrender unconditionally to their grave. What we are committed to are international law, human frameworks, and the principles they talk about. They should be committed to those principles. They can't ignore the rights of any country, including Iran.
Okay, so Iran there said, we are committed to the principles of international law, right? And this statement by this no good dirt monkey told us that these dudes are dishonest, right? Because when I heard them say all we want to do is adhere to the rules of international law, right? I said, okay, I asked a question. Does international law prohibit the development of nuclear weapons? Right? This is how you do research. This is how you catch somebody in a fucking lie, right? Does international law prohibit the development of nuclear weapons? So if this dude is telling the truth, saying all we want to do is adhere to international law, which y'all just heard him say it. Y'all all heard him say it, right? We just want to adhere to the rules of international law. Well, right here in front of your face. Does international law prohibit the creation of the development of nuclear weapons? Yes. The 2017 Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons, which entered into force in 2021, explicitly prohibits the development, testing, production, acquisition, and possession of nuclear weapons for its state parties. It is the first legally binding international agreement to comprehensively ban these activities. So if you're enriching uranium past 60%, you've made it clear that you want to develop nuclear weapons. How in the hell are you trying to adhere to international law when you're literally violating international law by saying you want a nuclear weapon, saying you will continue to enrich uranium past 60%, and that the United States has no grounds to ban you or prevent you from obtaining a nuclear weapon? They're liars. They're liars and they're thieves and they're dishonest. They don't want to adhere to international law. Israel has had nukes since the 1960s, 70s. So that don't even matter. You grandfathered in if you have the nukes already. And I want you to know something that your daddy didn't stay around long enough to teach you. The majority of the scientists who worked on the atomic bomb and the hydrogen bomb, they were all Jewish. So Jewish people had the technology, the mind, and the intelligence and the technology, the understanding of technology to develop atomic and hydrogen bombs before they were even made. Albert Einstein, Jewish. Oppenheimer, Jewish. And the list goes on. Those are the guys who made the atomic bomb. So you could talk all day about Israel having an atomic bomb. Israel produced the people who invented the atomic bomb. So talking about them having it is pointless because they could have developed that bitch and kept it and ruled everything. So you can stop your Israel shit because if Israel really was maliciously trying to just destroy the world, they could have took those same scientists, put them in a room and said, make something where we could dominate the planet. I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you. The link to come up is in the comments. I'll put it back in there. I'm just telling you. Israel could have created that atomic bomb on their own. Damn near all the scientists were Jewish. Go watch the movie Oppenheimer or do a little bit of research. So no, you can't steal something that came from your own IP. Jabbar, if you invent something, can you steal that? You invented it. That's like niggas saying a nigga stole fried chicken. We invented that fucking goddamn shit. I don't care. It don't matter if we made it for massa. We invented that shit. We invented cheddar biscuits too. I'm just keeping it a buck with you. I'm giving you something you could build your house on. Your mama didn't give you nothing but instructions on how to flat back to get money. So let's go back to this liar. So he said he just wants to adhere to international. It doesn't matter. They were German Jews. They were still Jews. They were still Jews. And some of them actually were descended from that region where Israel is. It doesn't matter what nationality they were. They were Jews. And when the time came to go back to their ancestral homeland, from what they say. They went over there. But what I'm telling you is, if the Jews had this malicious plan to dominate the world like y'all say they do, why didn't they just keep the information to build the atomic bomb to themselves? Why they didn't just sit in a room and come back and say, you know what? We can't make what you want us to make. Then when they got kicked out, they go in another lab and make the shit. I'm not trolling. Oh yeah, that dude's trolling. Yeah, I got a cough. You gave me that cough too now, Mike. But anyway, so that was the first lie told. Then I want you to pay attention to this.
Should apologize to the neighboring countries that were attacked by Iran on my own behalf. What happened was that our commanders and our leader lost their lives following barbaric aggression, and our armed forces, the champions that are sacrificing their lives to defend our territorial integrity, fired at will because their commanders were absent and did whatever was necessary.
Okay, so the next thing he says that he wants to apologize to the other Islamic countries that Iran fired on. And what he said was the soldiers just were firing at will because their leaders were unavailable, right? What does that mean? The United States did successfully kill off the upper part of the Iranian leadership. Because if you have soldiers and you're saying that they just started firing at will because their leaders were unavailable, that means the leaders was dead. So that means that the U.S. Army was telling the truth. And that the Iranian soldiers, because they were not getting no commands, they just start firing. Boom, 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 in all directions. That means that was true, what the government said. It's true that the IRGC doesn't have a leader. And let me tell you, here's where one of the first secret comes in. This is something you didn't know. You are now going to be smarter than 90% of these idiots talking on YouTube. Okay. So what people don't know about what Israel is doing, Israel is using laser guided missiles to destroy Iranian police stations. If in fact Israel and the United States did hit that little girl's school, it probably was in the act of them trying to destroy an Iranian police station. Why? Here's what you don't know. In the event that the leadership apparatus of Iran is destroyed or decapitated, local police chiefs, local officers from the local police departments are automatically, based on the rules of their country, empowered to become military generals, right? And give orders to the IRGC, the people who launched the weapons and missiles and all that. So what Israel is intelligently doing is, not only did they decapitate the head of the snake and kill all the top leadership, they are also killing all the police officers, because those police officers, in the event that the leadership of Iran is incapacitated, those police officers automatically become commanding officers of the IRGC. You didn't know that. You got to hear first. Go look it up, do your research, and it will confirm. Did you know that? Boom, mind blown, right? So they're smart. They are going above and beyond to destroy the leadership apparatus of Iran. Now, to put that into context, if they kill all the 5-star generals in the country and the president, don't no fucking Chief Wiggum become no damn commanding officer in the military. Dunkin' Donuts, Carl Winslow don't get put in command of a fucking battalion in the event that the officers are incapacitated. That's why they have NCOs, non-commissioned officers. That's soldiers who didn't go to the military academies, who basically went through all the ranks and earned the position of officer. The military has a contingency plan for that. Iran doesn't, right? So that's why they were crashing out on the neighboring countries, because you had a bunch of soldiers with missile launchers who had nobody to command them on where to shoot. So the soldiers just started shooting wherever they wanted. So that let's finish what he's saying.
Proudly and powerfully defended our homeland.
We are continuing to follow the latest out of Iran and the expanding war in the Middle East. Let's turn now to CBS News national security contributor Joe Zacks.
Okay, so that's that. Now, I'm going to give you guys another little secret tidbit coming from my cousin who is in the Navy. I'm not even going to tell you what he's on because y'all be snitching. FBA in the building hating. So basically, many amphibious assault ships have been extended from operations in Venezuela, in the Caribbean, to go to the Middle East, to the Persian Gulf, to the Strait of Hormuz, where the fighting is at, right? This is major because that means that there's an increased chance of there being troops sent in on the ground. Now, there's two types of amphibious assault vessels. There's the LPD and then there's the LPH, right? LPD is a ship that has nothing but Marines on it. You know, Marines are the ones that the president could send in without no approval from Congress. It has like 1,600 Marines on it, and then there's like 200 to 300 naval personnel, sailors on it. The Navy sailors, you know, they pilot the ship, move the ship around, do the maintenance. All the Marines do is sit on the ship for 10 hours and practice hand-to-hand combat, shooting, eat, and they just work out. That's all they do. So these are the dogs of war. All they do is practice fighting 10 hours a day. That's their job. Eat, shit, sleep, practice fighting, practice their gun at the gun range, do hand-to-hand combat all day. They just training to fight. So this is called an LPD because it stands for landing something dock, right? Or something like that. It's an amphibious assault ship. And basically the D means dock. I'm a bad student. I mean, I want to get you guys the right name. So there's LPH. Yeah, so it stands for Landing Platform Dock or Amphibious Transport Dock. This is a U.S. naval warship designed to transport and land Marines, vehicles, and equipment, right? Where they will go close to the land, the dock will lower down, and they will release these amphibious assault ships and vehicles, and they'll float right up to the land, and then Marines will get off and go fuck people up, right? Now there's the LPH, which is the landing. There's the landing platform. The landing platform helicopter pad. Though that's where it's the similar type of ship, but it has a large platform where you can land helicopters. And the helicopters basically transport troops to drop them in certain locations on the land. They can also transport vehicles and different stuff. It has a flight deck on it, right? So it's designed for large-scale air assaults behind beaches. So the troops will go onto the beach, right? The helicopters and shit will take off to drop troops behind the beach. They can even take off to hit sensitive areas that are like reinforcing the forces that are trying to hold the beach, right? The last time you saw these things used were in Okinawa, the Pacific, the war in the Pacific. If you watch like Letters of Iwo Jima or something like that, they use those platforms a lot because they were going from island to island. But they're going to go and basically into the Persian Gulf. And if becomes necessary, they will hit the beaches of the Persian Gulf and they will send Marines into that country. Now, the Kurds are saying they're willing to go in and fight on the ground. And many people believe it's going to be Kurdish forces mixed with Israeli forces that will lead a ground assault if necessary. And the United States will just provide air cover. And that's most likely going to happen because they want to go in and weed out what's left of the IRGC and make sure they don't have missiles hidden underground waiting for the United States to stop bombardment or delete an area. And then they're going to start bombing Israel or other allies, right? That's one thing. Then two, literally their leadership apparatus is totally destroyed. So I'm getting this from a naval cryptologist, someone who was in the military intelligence apparatus of the Navy, stationed on a nuclear sub, fired weapons, missiles from a Navy sub into Iraq, lived in Russia as doing military intelligence, really has been in the shit, really has not really in combat per se, like as far as hand-to-hand or man-to-man, but really on the back end, making plans and developing plans of assault in the Middle East, okay? So when I get my information, it's good stuff coming from reliable sources. On top of that, the U.S. Navy is what is used to project the force of the American military. I forgot the word he used to describe it. It's like the projector of force for the American. You guys might know if you were in the military, but basically that's what carries the United States power around the globe, right? You can't just launch planes from America all the time and send them halfway across the world. You use the Navy to get planes to a place where they can launch planes and mitigate the risk of those planes not being able to get back home. Right? I think it's the number one or the foremost projector of force of U.S. force in the world. So the U.S. Navy protects America at sea. They're the projectors of American power. They ensure maritime security. They deter credible people who are credible threats from attacking Americans. So they're big dogs. They handle nothing we do would be possible mostly without the Navy, basically. And I got another little tidbit I'll tell you. My cousin who's on the ship told me something about the UK Navy. The United Kingdom, it's an island. They used to have the strongest Navy in the world. They're the ones who were able to institute slavery all over the globe because their naval might. But people were talking about why the United States doesn't consult with its allies, right? And there was my cousin basically was like, why would we consult with our allies when our allies have their shit, basically. The UK Navy, which used to be the strongest Navy on earth, is now one of the weakest navies on earth. They're now one of the weakest navies on earth. They have no, I think they have 2 aircraft carriers that can't even, they can't work. They don't work. They call the United States and ask for supplies just to do basic naval exercises. They're weak. I'm gonna read this to you because I shared this. So basically, my cousin had wrote, he said, we didn't consult our allies prior to attacking Iran. That's an argument that's going around. The UK is our #1 ally. The UK has 2 aircraft carriers. Neither are operational. They currently have no warfighting capability. The UK has 45 destroyers. Only 1 is capable of deploying. The others are all in maintenance or awaiting maintenance. 1 destroyer has been pierside for 9 years. The UK currently doesn't have a single submarine capable of deploying. The UK has no submarines in the ocean right now that can fight. When our #1 ally isn't capable of just conducting man overboard drills, what's the point of consulting them? So people don't really understand. Y'all be talking nonsense, right? About, oh, our allies and the world is laughing at us and all this shit. Fuck the world. These people have become so dependent on the U.S. projection of power. They basically said, we don't got to spend no money on our military, our Navy, nothing, because if something happened, the United States going to protect us. But then they want to have, they want to have say-so over what we do with our shit. When it's like you tell women, in order for me to protect you, you have to have faith in my authority. You have to acknowledge my authority to do that. That's the same thing with the United States. Don't come at us talking about what we can and can't do, but you're not even in a position to protect yourself. That's why when Trump says something and they be like, nah, 5 minutes later, they be like, okay, we gonna do it. Because Trump just said, all right, okay, you on your own. Look at Spain. Spain tried to fuck with the United States, talking about we can't use their bases and all this shit. They took that back about 10 minutes later. When Trump was like, yep, we cutting off all trade with y'all. See, the European countries, they just talk tough. The only European country that has some type of capability is France. France has a pretty good military, but their navy is shit. That's why you hear France talking about, yeah, we building more nukes. What's the point of building more nukes? Nukes are not going to help you in conventional warfare. So what is building more nukes going to do? The UK got shit that's they're bad. They're horrible. They're horrible. They're trying to use unmanned hybrid ships and stuff to fight now. But it's bad, man. It's terrible. But is there anything else? Do you guys have any questions? I'm gonna start taking some questions after every live stream. So if you got a question, just put it in the comments, or here goes the link. You can come up and ask it. I just put the link in the comments. But if y'all still here, I might as well go ahead and react to one of these videos before I go. I got a question. What the hell is going on with CNN? The government is going to have to do something with CNN, y'all. Because somehow, some way, CNN has managed to get access into Iran. They are rolling around in Iran doing their best to try to present the United States as like the bad guy and somehow present Iran as the good guy. And you know, CNN is using this lie talking about, oh nah, we ain't trying to present the United States as bad or nothing like that. But the reality is, if you know anything about oppressive regimes, right? They're not going to let you come into their country unless they know for a fact that you are going to try to paint them in a positive light. That's just the reality. They're not going to let you in a damn country to badmouth them. So the fact that CNN is in the country of Iran right now while our country is in conflict with them, that tells you that somebody in CNN has basically told Iran if they let them in and let them get exclusive access, entrance into Iran, that they would basically do a hit job on America in the Trump administration. What the hell is up with that? Let's tap in.
2 days ago, yesterday, this morning, I was told we were not at war. Today in the press conference, PKXF says, in the war. Are we at war? Are we not at war? Do we want regime change or do we not?
The president told the Iranian people in his very first
moment.
You know, I know this may sound controversial, and among my friends, some of them is controversial.
That's okay.
But I think that a lot of commentary is missing, perhaps, the big picture.
I agree.
And there is a big picture here, and perhaps to simplify it, I would put it this way: I don't think it's right to say that President Trump has started a war with Iran. I think President Trump wants to finish a war that Iran started in 1979, 47 years ago. And these aren't just words. Let me just tell you an anecdote. In the 2003, 2004, when I was there in Iran working on projects at a very high level, I was talking with deputy ministers, I was talking with, going back and forth, and I was in the foreign ministry in Tehran, where I met someone who was very senior, and he was semi-sympathetic with the projects we were doing. But as I was leaving, he looked me in the eye, and he said, "You as an Iranian American, I want you to know something and listen very carefully." He said, "We in this building," and what he meant is the foreign ministry, which meant representing the government, which means representing the regime. He said, "We believe we are at war with the United States." He said at that time, it's a Cold War, but it's a war nonetheless. This was a warning to
just remind you all, Trump called it a war.
I think it's inevitable.
Boy. So we got to talk.
Now I want y'all to see how when someone who has experience, right? This guy, I can't pronounce his name, but I'm going to try. Kian Tajbakhsh, right? He worked in the foreign ministry as an Iranian American citizen working in Iran. He said that a high-ranking official told him, "I want you to know that we consider ourselves to be at war with America. We consider this a Cold War," and basically may the best man win, right? Soon as he says or shares his experience, you got these loudmouth heifers screaming, trying to I think. He not talking about what he think. He's talking about what he knows for a fact, what was said to him by a high-ranking Iranian official in the Iranian foreign ministry. At that point, just shut up, bro. He's telling you. But they have to try to filibuster and interrupt and discredit because the truth that he's telling goes against the false narrative that their company, CNN, has told them to deliver about the situation between Iran and America. oh, U.S. is starting a war with Iran. No, we've been at war with Iran. When someone is producing roadside bombs to kill American troops, when someone is funding and training militias in other countries to attack and kill American troops, when someone is sending people with car bombs into Marine barracks, they don't like you. That's like someone who keep punch you in the face and you keep on saying, they was just playing. They're not playing. They've killed thousands of Americans and kidnapped hundreds more. At what point are you going to say, nah, they're really trying to hurt us and we need to do something about it? Iran started it and Trump finished it. That's it. Trump didn't do no regime change in Iran in 1970, whatever. America didn't even really have to overthrow Iran. The Shah became increasingly unpopular. And people have been smuggling tapes of the Ayatollah speaking into the country, which were banned. And what did the Ayatollah do? He does what every enemy of a country does to overthrow it. He appealed and spoke to the dumbass students in the colleges of Iran because he knows that, college students are always the most radical and easily manipulated group in your country. And they assisted the Ayatollah in overthrowing the Shah. That's not America's fault. You deal with your problems.
It's a Cold War, but it's a war nonetheless. This was a war.
I just remind you of.
I think
it's inevitable.
Boy.
I think that, who cares what you think? It doesn't matter what you think. Who cares what you think? It doesn't matter what you think. He's telling you what he knows for a fact. Facts trump opinions every single day, every single time. Now, one of them is going to go to Iran to get boots on the ground to go talk to somebody from the IRGC to get some facts.
The country and has been allowed to send their footage out to a U.S. news network.
So the gas stations, there's no long line.
Oh, this lady is talking about how CNN has been granted like unprecedented access to Iran, but they're saying they're not operating as a foreign agent. But we all have the same question. If you're not operating as a foreign agent, why would they give you access to the country?
For a coffee along the way. We've been driving for several hours. There's a couple of things that we've noticed. Number one is that, first of all the shops are open. All the shops are really well stocked, even with fresh things, like, for instance, fruits and vegetables. Coffee, obviously, also available as well. And then also the gas stations. There's no long lines as gas stations. Fuel seems readily available, and you just don't see any sort of degree of panic anywhere.
So CNN's back in Iran.
Fairly good progress towards Tehran. It is a very, very long drive, though.
Which is interesting because my texts still haven't been delivered to my family members because there's a regime-imposed internet blackout. But CNN has been able to report from inside the country and has been allowed to send their footage out to a U.S. news network.
So how the hell, if they have an internet blackout in the country, nobody can send texts in or out, nobody can go on social media, how is CNN able to send messages in and out of Iran? And if they do you not believe that Iran is carefully monitoring and analyzing those messages and videos and all that to make sure it's not nothing in there that's disparaging towards Iran? You're operating as a traitor. You're not there to tell journalistic truth. You're there to paint a picture that is in support or pro-Iran and anti-American. It's not even, it's very obvious.
So the gas stations, there's no long lines as gas stations. Fuel seems readily available.
I think one of the reasons there aren't long lines at the gas stations is because, and I'm going out on a limb here, a lot of people are staying inside because the country's getting bombed.
All the shops are really well stocked, even with fresh things, like, for instance, fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, the shelves are probably pretty stocked because most people can't afford groceries right now.
You just don't see any sort of degree of panic anywhere.
Did you see the panic of the people who were getting shot at by the IRGC when they were chanting from the the rooftops? Did you see the panic of the people who are getting stopped at armed checkpoints and being threatened? Did you see the panic of the people who are watching state-controlled television today as the IRGC said, if anyone shows any enthusiasm or excitement for what the U.S. and Israel are doing, we can shoot to kill you? Or how about the state TV host who threatened an Iranian women's national team and said that they should be punished harshly and considered treasonous because they chose not to sing the national anthem? Or how about the panic of the parents whose children were killed, reportedly by a U.S. strike on the school in Minab?
Taking a quick break for a coffee along the way. We've been driving for several hours.
Ugh, I am so glad you found a good cup of coffee. It is so hard to find quality coffee during wartime. Next time you want some coffee, let me know. I have so many places in LA I could suggest to you. You don't need to drive all the way to Iran.
Yeah, so that's straight up, to me, that's treasonous. I'm getting real tired of these so-called journalists and these so-called news outlets. They hate America. They hate America because they feel like the American people should let them control and tell them who they should vote for and who's best for them. That's in reality. I feel the American media, especially the mainstream media, they are on a mission to gain enough power and control over American citizens to where they can determine the outcome of elections. And every time you vote against who they suggest, they're going to ramp up the disinformation and misinformation campaigns against you. It's really pathetic. Every time you look at CNN, they don't ever have anything positive to say about America. It's always like some type of negative. And then they're in Iran talking about, oh, there's plenty of food on the shelves and nobody seems panicked at all and all this type of shit, right? And it's just like, dude, listen, for one, if they tell you they're going to shoot you, if you show any emotions that are positive towards America, they're going to kill you. If they tell you that if they've hyperinflated your currency to the point where you can't afford to buy anything, well, of course the shelves are going to be fully stocked, dummy. You can't buy nothing. If you go to the Ferrari dealership, they're not going to say, you know what, we're plumb out of Ferraris. They're always going to have Ferraris because not that many people can afford them. They're going to be fully stocked most times. Unless they get a rapper or some rich fool coming there, oh yeah, let me get 5 of them. That doesn't happen. When supply is high and demand is low, guess what? That means your prices should be lower. But when you have a hyperinflated currency, supply is going to be high, demand's going to be low, but supply is high, demand is also high, but no one has the money to afford the supply that is available. Understand that. So everything he said just highlights the reality of how much Iran is suffering. Oh, there was barely anybody at the gas station. Well, yeah, they can't afford to buy fuel. Also, why would they be outside when their country is in the middle of getting bombed? That's why I know that all that shit where they was showing like the videos of like people mourning Khamenei. Oh, look how many thousands of people are out there. Those people, either those videos are fake or they force those people to go out there and do that. And the IRGC is capable. We're going to kill you. We're going to come kick in your door and kill you if you don't go out and mourn Khamenei publicly. And Iran has done shit like that before. If America said, look, man, you better go out and mourn Donald Trump or we're going to kick in your door and kill your whole family. Your ass going to be right out there, slow, what's it called? Flower bringing and slow singing. Trump, you're going to be looking sad as a motherfucker.
In Iran, are you afraid of a U.S. invasion in your country?
No, we are waiting for them.
We are waiting for them.
You are waiting for the U.S. military to invade, the ground troops?
Yes, because we are confident that we can confront them, and that would be a big disaster for them.
So to me, when I listen to this dude say that, this foreign minister or whatever he is, this guy tells me that they're losing the air battle. United States and Israel have total control over their airspace, so they're just like, let's try to wait them out until they got to send troops in. Because if you go muzzle-to-muzzle combat, it's obvious that there's going to be some casualties on the American side. And that's what Iran knows, because they know that American citizens can't handle the idea of Americans dying in war. So they're like, look, if they come in here with troops, we get 10, 12, 20 of them. You're going to have people out in the street with signs in America protesting, bring our troops home. We saw that happen in Vietnam, right? That's what they want. They want to get to the point. It's like somebody, it's like somebody who got a knife and you got a gun. Yeah, they want you to put the gun down and have a knife fight, because then they could get close enough to where they could do something to you. That's it. And he's giving away the bad situation that they're in. Yeah, we welcome them to come. We want them to come. Of course you do. Because you want to be able to kill enough American troops to cause the American people to turn against the government. And Trump do not do it. Keep whooping feet. Keep whooping feet from the safety of the sky, dude. That's all I'm saying.
Even more than the previous war.
Hold on.
So you're saying that Iran is ready and willing to take on the U.S. military if there were to be ground troops?
Well, we were ready for this war even more than the previous war. So you can see, the quality of our missiles, how much they are upgraded after the last war, because we learned lots of lessons. And we are prepared for any other eventuality.
Man, these people are straight up liars. We were prepared more for this war than any previous war. Jabbar, how you prepared more for this war when you lost 50 of your top leadership on the first day? That's like a nigga playing a basketball game and going down by 50 in the first quarter talking about we got them right where we want them. Nigga, you got your feet whooped on the first day. But this is what the America haters, the conspiracy theorists, the degenerate idiots, that's what they want to believe, what people like this say. Hitler also would have told you that he was winning the war or that I'm gonna beat him. We want him to come into Berlin. Yeah, that's what your job is, to keep the morale high. But when the Allied forces entered into Berlin, what did Hitler do? He blew his own damn brains out. He was talking, bro, as Hitler was sending women and children to fight against Russian and American forces that were entering Berlin, right? He was saying, we're going to win. We're going to defend the motherland, the fatherland, or whatever he called it. We're going to win. We're going to drive the enemy from our country. All this shit. Soon as them kids went out to their death, he blew his own brains out. A coward. That's what these type of people do. They gaslight you and hot nose your ass into, you know what I'm saying, being ready to go out there and get obliterated while they hide in a tunnel somewhere like a rat. And just before the enemy forces get in, they blow their own brains out. This is textbook typical of radical dictatorships. Nicolas Maduro was talking straight cap. That dude was talking big shit, I bet. All the way till they put his ass in handcuffs. That nigga was in handcuffs talking about Merry Christmas or some crazy shit like that. Happy New Year or some crazy shit he was saying. He was joking, right? Because that's what makes these people effective leaders, charismatic, never say die attitude. But the reality is much different from what this dude is trying to present to you or tell you. But if you gullible and you idiotic, yeah, all right, cool. Believe him.
A ground invasion. So our soldiers are prepared for any scenario. When I said that we are waiting for them, it didn't mean that we are waiting for continuation of the war. No, but we have prepared ourselves.
Oh, so now he changing it up. When I said we waiting for him, I didn't mean we ready for continuation of the war. Of course not. You getting your feet whooped. I just mean we prepared ourselves. Bro, if you lose your supreme leader on the first day, you can't say you were prepared. Do you understand? You can't say you were prepared for Michael Jordan when a nigga put up 70 on you. Maybe you thought you were prepared, But Jordan faded away on your bitch ass and showed you that you weren't prepared. You can't say you ready for Cobra Kai like Daniel's son when they whooping your ass in the parking lot. You weren't prepared. You may have thought you were ready, but you were not ready. These people just tell lies to make it look like they got a chance. Because as long as they can get in on the news, they feel like they have a chance to impact public opinion. And I would honestly ban these fucking media outlets from even talking to these motherfuckers. I mean, if it was me, but we live in America, freedom of the press, right? But what you talking to this dude for? He ain't doing shit. But from what I hear, they already trying to surrender. They don't want to surrender. They don't want to say the word surrender. They say, we want to negotiate.
To confront with any scenario, with any eventuality, any possibility, and we know that we can handle that.
Now, the reason why these guys... Bro, how are they handling anything when they getting their feet whooped? That's like me saying, I'm ready for him. He hit me one time, I go to the ground, he start kicking me, and I'm like, yeah, I can handle him. Well, you can handle an ass whooping then. But guys, we got to get out of here. Thank you so much for watching this. Hope you enjoyed this video. I appreciate you and everything you do for this channel. Please like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. Shout out to everybody who contributed. Many blessings to you all. Until the next time, take care of yourselves. But most importantly, please take care of each other. Peace.